Before the world knew his name, before the handles, before the controversy, there was just a boy and a basketball. Kyrie Andrew Irving was born in Melbourne, Australia, but his story was never about geography. It was about movement, about rhythm, about understanding the game not just with the body, but with the mind. Basketball was inherited, not chosen. His father, Drederick Irving, was a professional player. For Kyrie, the court wasn't a destination, it was home. While other kids learned the rules, Kyrie learned the feel of the ball, the bounce, the timing, the silence between dribbles. But life tested him early. When Kyrie was just 4 years old, he lost his mother. That kind of loss doesn't just create pain, it creates depth. And in that quiet space, Kyrie began to listen to himself, to the game, to something bigger than wins and losses. Growing up in New Jersey, Kyrie wasn't the biggest. He wasn't the strongest, but he was different. His dribbling wasn't flashy for attention. It was surgical, precise, almost meditative. Every move had intention. Coaches noticed. Defenders feared him. But Kyrie never played like he was trying to prove something. He played like he was solving a puzzle. Every defender was a question. Every possession, an answer. High school turned whispers into headlines. National rankings followed. Expectations grew heavier. And yet Kyrie stayed inward. Focused, grounded. He believed basketball was more than athleticism, it was creativity. Then came Duke, the bluest of blue blood programs, the brightest spotlight, and almost immediately, darkness. A toe injury, season ending, just 11 games played. For most players, this would have been the end of momentum. Doubt would creep in, fear would settle. But Kyrie didn't panic. He waited, he studied, he healed, because Kyrie Irving was never in a rush. He understood something most don't. The game reveals itself only to those patient enough to listen, and soon, the world would listen too. The NBA doesn't wait for anyone. When Kyrie Irving entered the 2011 draft, questions followed him. Too little college experience, injury concerns, uncertainty. But talent speaks louder than doubt, and Cleveland listened. First overall pick. Overnight, Kyrie went from promise to responsibility. A franchise desperate for hope placed its future in the hands of a 19-year-old, and with that came pressure most players never survive. But Kyrie didn't shrink. He exploded, handles so tight they felt illegal, finishes at the rim that defied physics. He wasn't just scoring, he was creating chaos. Defenders lunged, ankles bent. Crowds leaned forward every time he touched the ball. Rookie of the Year wasn't a surprise. It was confirmation. Yet greatness is never simple. Cleveland was rebuilding. Losses piled up. And while Kyrie's individual brilliance shined, the weight of expectations grew heavier. People questioned his leadership, his patience, his direction. Then everything changed. LeBron James came home. Suddenly the pressure multiplied. Kyrie was no longer just a scorer, he was a co-star, a closer, a decision-maker under the brightest lights basketball offers. And he delivered. In 2016, basketball witnessed something rare, perfect alignment. Kyrie's creativity met LeBron's power. Talent met trust. Belief met opportunity. Game 7 NBA Finals. Warriors versus Cavaliers. Tie game. Under a minute. The moment didn't rush Kyrie. It found him. One crossover. One step back, one shot. Silence. Then history. That shot wasn't luck. It was years of patience compressed into a single second. Every quiet gym. Every lonely recovery. Every moment of doubt answered championship. But here's the truth most don't see. Winning doesn't quiet the inner voice. For Kyrie, the ring didn't end the questions. It amplified them. About purpose. About identity. About freedom. Because Kyrie Irving was never just chasing trophies. He was chasing meaning. And that search would take him far beyond Cleveland. Into choices that shocked the league and revealed who he truly was. Greatness is celebrated. But individuality is often punished. After winning a championship, Kyrie Irving did something few expected. He walked away from comfort, from certainty, from being second in command. He asked for more responsibility, more space, more identity, and the world didn't understand. Leaving Cleveland wasn't about ego, it was about self-definition. Kyrie wanted to lead, not follow, to explore the edges of his own potential. So he went to Boston carrying not just talent, but expectations heavy enough to crush most players. At first it looked perfect. New city, new role, new voice. But leadership isn't about skill alone, it's about connection. Injuries interrupted rhythm. Young teammates needed guidance. Media narratives turned sharp. Every word Kyrie spoke was dissected, every absence magnified. And when things went wrong, the blame found him. Then came the labels. Unreliable, distracted, difficult. But labels are easy when someone refuses to fit the mold. Kyrie questioned things, publicly. About life, about belief, about the systems people accept without thought. And instead of curiosity, he was met with ridicule. Because society often confuses thinking with rebellion. He moved again. Brooklyn, a new chapter built on friendship and trust. Playing alongside Kevin Durant, Kyrie hoped freedom would finally bring peace. Instead, the noise grew louder. Injuries, expectations, a global pandemic. Personal choices that turned into national debates. Kyrie stood firm in his beliefs, even when it cost him games, money, and reputation. To some, he was selfish. To others, he was courageous. The truth lives somewhere in between. Kyrie Irving wasn't trying to be a villain or a hero. He was trying to be himself, in a league that demands conformity. And that choice came with a price. But here's what most critics missed. Kyrie never stopped loving the game. He never stopped creating beauty with the ball, never stopped competing, never stopped evolving. Because when you strip away the headlines, the controversy, the opinions, you're left with a player who refused to silence his inner voice, and that voice was still writing the story. The final chapter wasn't about proving others wrong. It was about finding balance between belief and responsibility, freedom and commitment, talent and legacy. Basketball is where Kyrie Irving's story began, but it's never been where it ends. For a player who mastered handles that bend reality, the court was only a canvas. His true challenge was understanding himself and what he wanted the world to see. Kyrie's journey has never been about stats, rings, or records alone. It's been about impact, on culture, on conversation, on the way people think about talent, responsibility, and individuality. Even as critics shouted, he spoke, not always in agreement with the masses, not always seeking applause. He championed education, history, and awareness, pushing conversations that extended far beyond sports. Social justice, indigenous rights, global pandemics, questions most athletes avoid. He became more than a player. He became a voice, a complicated human, sometimes polarizing voice. And yet, through all the controversy, the injuries, the trades, the headlines, one thing remained constant, his love for the game. That love is visible in every crossover, every step-back jumper, every clutch shot that sends arenas into a frenzy. But Kyrie's legacy is not just about the moments that make highlight reels. It's about the courage to remain authentic in a world that demands conformity. Kyrie Irving showed that greatness can coexist with complexity, that brilliance doesn't require perfection, that you can question, you can challenge, you can step outside the lines and still create beauty. His story is a reminder that talent is only part of the journey. Character, conviction, and curiosity shape the rest. And now, as fans watch him evolve on and off the court, the question isn't whether Kyrie will score another basket. It's whether the world is ready to learn from him, to embrace nuance, to value individuality, and to celebrate genius that doesn't always fit the mold. Kyrie Irving's story is unfinished. Every game, every decision, every conversation adds another layer. But one thing is clear. He has left an indelible mark on basketball, culture, and the art of being unapologetically yourself. In the end, the ball still bounces, the clock still ticks, and Kyrie keeps moving, relentlessly, creatively, fearlessly. Because that is his legacy. Not the points, not the rings, not the headlines, but the courage to play and to live on his own terms. And that is a story worth listening to.